Hey up, it's me, that old Yorkshire geek, back again with some more geeky news. Hope you can hear me, because I've been having problems earlier on with my microphone. It was going a bit doolally, so I've taken the thing off, and it seems to be alright now. I've done some tests, but we'll see how we go on. I think we're streaming, yeah, we're streaming. Right. So, what have we got tonight? We've got some Star Trek news, some Star Wars news, as usual, that's all it seems to be. A bit of Doctor Who, and some other stuff. And obviously, I think we'll try and finish off that list of upcoming films, which has been going on forever. Right, so I'll make myself smaller and we'll crack on. Whee, yeah, getting small. Going to the corner there we go. A bit small, you don't see my ugly mug, do you? You want to see this stuff. Where are we? Now then. Ba-dum. There we go. Star Trek. You can't see that, can you? Star Trek, we dodged a foot on torpedo with Quentin Tarantino movie. Do. Right. So, while Quentin Tarantino remains one of the consummate filmmakers of his time, Star Trek was just not a good fit. And I agree. I agree completely. I think he's not a Star Trek director, is he? It'd have been all... I mean, obviously he loves Star Trek because he included a quote, didn't he, from Star Trek in Kill Bill, wasn't it? At the beginning of Kill Bill, Volume 1. He had the revenge is a dish best served cold, and he put old Klingon proverb, didn't he? Anyway, and there's Quentin Tarantino, Chris Pine as Kirk, and William Shatner as Captain James Tiberius Kirk. Right. When the news broke in December 2017 that Quentin Tarantino had approached Paramount Pictures with a pitch for a new Star Trek film, one could hear the collective sound of countless fans' jaws dropping open. One of the most respected and controversial filmmakers of his time, the imagination behind modern classics like Pulp Fiction and Inglourious B-Words, wanted to put his imprimatur, oh god, they're off with big words, on one of the most beloved, if creaky, sci-fi franchises of all time. Not just of all time. In italics. Apparently that was the case, even if it was unclear whether Tarantino actually wanted to direct the thing himself or just sort of shepherd his story idea to the screen. A writer's room was convened with different scribes proposing different ways to flesh out Tarantino's pitch, with the revenant screenwriter Mark L. Smith eventually winning the gig. Oh, pardon me, I'm burping already, because we're on 7-Up today, and it's nearly empty. Thus began a confusing 4-year journey through development hell for what might have been as many as 3 different Trek features. Over the past few years, as Tarantino's interest in the project faded, directors and writers, such as Noah Hawley, Legion, which I didn't like Legion, I didn't like Legion, but I do like Fargo, so there you go. Swings and Roundabouts, and S.J. Clarkson and Jessica Jones were attached at different points, with Matt Shackman, One Division, eventually landing in the director's chair in mid-2021. Different scripts were also apparently bandied about, with both a direct sequel to 2016's Star Trek Beyond, Clarkson, and yet another reboot with a different set of characters, Hawley, both in the mix. Meanwhile, even though he officially withdrew from directing the film, the script based on Tarantino's story idea still lurked in the background. It was only in February 2022 when Paramount announced that a new Trek film under Shackman's direction, with the latest script penned by Josh Friedman and Cameron Squires, was going into production later this year for a December 22nd, 2023 release. That Tarantino's version was unequivocally declared dead. That's probably a good thing. What was Tarantino's Star Trek story about? Well, let's read on and find out. If I can control my mouse. There we go. Oh, God. Right, I think I'm going to have to clean my glasses. I do apologise. I should have done this before. I've just noticed as I started reading, I've got a big blob of something or an eyelash or something. Unprofessional, I know, you don't have to tell me. I know, but who cares? Who cares, really? Right. we go. That's better. Right. Oh, it's still there. Didn't... Where... Oh, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I can see something on my glasses. Hope I haven't scratched them. Don't know how, if I have. I can still see something there. I'm going to have to lick them. Which won't be the first time, I'm telling you. There we go. See if that gets it. If it's something on the outside. Oh, there's something in there. It's still there, I can see it. I can still see it. Blimey. Blimey O'Reilly. Oh, it'll have to do. It'll have to do. I'll just have to put up with it. Yes, I've got it, I think. I don't know. Anyway, where were we? We have the utmost respect for Quentin Tarantino as a filmmaker, even if we've been a little cold on his last couple of films. This is Den of Geek, obviously. Oh, right, yes, and obviously, as usual, the links for all the places we go in are in the description box below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share the videos and use the notification bell. But, click on it and then, or turn it to on if you're on your phone. So you get notifications of when I do new stuff, which is usually every day at this time. So there you go. And what else? And drop a comment or join the live chat. No viewers at the moment. Don't matter. Hey, we'll start again. While we have the utmost respect for Quentin Tarantino as a filmmaker, even if we've been a little cold in his last couple of films, and believe that he's truly a Star Trek fan with his heart in the right place, we never were and are still unable to imagine him directing a Trek adventure. Neither can I, to be honest. Neither can I. For one thing, Variety recently confirmed again long-standing reports regarding exactly what Tarantino's pitch was, calling it a largely earthbound story set in a 1930s gangster setting that involved time travel and did feature the most recent Kelvin timeline cast, or at least Chris Pine's Captain Kirk. The story seemed to be a direct take on the famous second season episode of the original series, A Piece of the Action. The episode is fondly remembered as part of a string of second season episodes that leaned in a comedic direction, along with I, Mud and The Trouble with Tribbles, while allowing Kirk and Spock to romp around in pinstripe suits and fedora hats as they brandished Tommy guns and convinced the rival gangs to cooperate with us and maybe we'll cut you in for a piece of the action. I'm not good at accents, I'm sorry. It's still fun to watch, but it's also an example of some of the laziest writing that permeated the original Trek in its second season, one of a number of episodes in which the Enterprise found itself orbiting a planet patterned after an old Earth culture, thus allowing the production to use standing period sets instead of building exotic new futuristic ones. Why Tarantino's Star Trek might have sunk the franchise for good. As we said, A Piece of the Action may still be an enjoyable Star Trek episode in many ways, but to hang an entire feature film on this premise, the Enterprise running up against early American gangster culture in a time travel adventure set on Earth, would we believe prove to be a disappointment. For one thing, here we go again. For one thing, the Enterprise travelling back to Earth's past and generating laughs has already been done. The most successful of the original cast's 6 features, 1986's Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, featured the crew going back to the then modern-day San Francisco to save some whales and bring them forward to the future. Of course, everybody loves Star Trek IV, but I tried watching it recently and I got as far as nuclear vessels. I got as far as that and I had to turn it off because that policeman just did me head in. Just staring at Chekhov. Got me so angry I had to turn it off. It's horrible. Horrible scene. Anyway, featured the crew going back... Oh, I've said that bit, haven't I? The gangster angle would not only rehash a piece of the action to some degree, but it would also bring Star Trek directly into Tarantino's wheelhouse. Had he indeed chosen to direct the film, his first 5 features are all immersed in the world of thugs, criminals and gangsters, while 2 of his 4 subsequent movies feature criminal elements in different environments. And while he has experimented with alternate histories in Inglorious B-Words and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he has never directed a pure science fiction film. Most of his movies are set either in a gritty present or an equally gritty, hyper-realistic period scenario. Add to this fact that Tarantino's Trek movie was purportedly going to be, had it gone into production, the first R-rated effort in what had traditionally always been a family-friendly franchise. Discovery says, hold my beer. And it becomes clear that Tarantino would have made, a Tarantino movie. Ooh, heck. Dressed in the trappings of Star Trek instead of lending his formidable talent and energy to the franchise while keeping its basic foundations intact. Ooh, where are you going? It's our belief that this, while perhaps done with good intentions, would have alienated Trek fans already let down by Star Trek Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond, which were alright, while providing Tarantino devotees and the rest of the public with an odd curio that might not have found an audience with anyone. Beyond Tarantino! So, what happens with Star Trek now? The world has obviously changed since Star Trek Beyond did not light up the box office nearly 6 years ago. With Paramount Viacom CBS shifting the focus to streaming and generating an incredible 4 new Star Trek series in the past 5 years. Yeah, but they're not good. With a 5th imminent, and that won't be good either, and at least 2 more in development, and they probably won't be good. They won't, I'm telling you. But there'll be people saying, oh, but they are, just enjoy it. No, because I'm not just enjoying, if they're just giving rubbish, I'm not just going to say, oh, at least it's Star Trek. No, it's rubbish Star Trek. But the studios insist that Star Trek still has a future in feature films with the announcement of a release date for the new movie while confirming the return of the Kelvin cast, much to their surprise apparently, indicating the company's commitment to restoring the Trek franchise to the big screen. What will... let's get this up right there. Oh, God. What will the new Star Trek movie be about? We have no idea, really. But here are a few things we'd like to not see in the 4th Kelvin timeline adventure. Chris Hemsworth as Kirk's dad. No more daddy issues, please. He's the captain of a goddamn starship. Time travel of any kind. Oh, there will be. There always is. More of the Spock Uhura romance. Well, they broke up, didn't they? In Beyond. Time for the first officer to Vulcan up. Motorcycle stunts. Yeah, we're rubbish with that. And revenge-driven villain. Yeah, you'll get another one of them. And any kind of deep state conspiracy inside the Federation or Starfleet. There'll be a hint of that. I bet there is. Gone too far again. There we go. Also, let's not take a cue from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and create a multiverse in which the casts of Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds can cameo. We bet that's been discussed, though. I suspect Picard and Discovery may overlap, even though they're 700 years apart. But there's rumours that there's going to be some sort of overlap. I don't know how. Q's involved, anything could happen. How about an adventure in which the Enterprise encounters a strange new alien race or space-based phenomena that poses an ethical or moral conflict and or some kind of physical danger for the crew? Can that really be so hard? They used to do them every week. Most of them still pretty good. And that was 55 years ago. Let Star Trek be Star Trek. It's not going to make $1 billion at the box office. They never do. It's not Marvel. It's not Star Wars. And most of all, it's not Pulp Fiction in Starfleet uniforms. We could be wrong, but we suspect that fans would not have wanted a piece of that action. Yes, and I agree. I agree with you, Don K. I agree wholeheartedly. We just want good Star Trek. Good, well-written, proper Star Trek. Not, not Quentin Tarantino. Not people's heads being blown off and stuff like that, and F-bombs left, right and centre. Discovery. Although they don't really do them so much now, do they? But the early days they did. And they're doing Picard, don't they? There's every 5 minutes somebody dropping an F-bomb. Anyway... And we want, good stories. A good story, well told, as Robert Marbinet says. That's all we want. That's all we want. Anyway, so we'll move on to Star Wars. So we can close that one. There we go. Star Wars theory. Disney may be setting up the return of a fan favourite character, and you may recognise that face. His teeth look almost as bad as mine. Kyle Katarn is a popular character. I always think of what's the name of the actor that plays the baddie in Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight Dark Forces Part 2 or 2 or whatever. What's the name of the actor? I can't remember. Christopher Neame. And he always goes, Kyle Katarn, and licks his lips. I like Christopher Neame. He's been in, I think he's been in the Star Trek series. I can't remember which one. I saw it recently. Which one was it? Can't remember. But he's been in Star Trek, and he's been in horror films. He were in Dracula AD 1972. He was good in that as well, as Johnny Alucard. Anyway, I'm digressing as usual. Right, Kyle Katarn is a popular character from the old canon, and it's the perfect time for Disney to bring him back into the Star Wars universe. And there he is with his yellow lightsaber. Tell Rey! Makes you thinking, I'm the first one to have a yellow lightsaber. No, you're not. Kyle Katarn got there first. Kyle Katarn! Disney has been doing a lot of work expanding Star Wars through various movies, TV shows, books and comics. The studio has been adding to the legendary franchise's canon. My feet are freezing. I forgot to put my shoes on. And I've just got my socks on and my feet are freezing. What am I like? Yet fans are still missing some beloved characters from the days before Disney owned the IP. One of those characters is Kyle Katarn, former rebel and Jedi Master of the New Jedi Order. He was the centrepiece of many video games and books and became a fan favourite character. And of course his ship's called the Mouldy Crow, which I do believe appeared briefly in, I think, the Phantom Menace. I think it was the Phantom Menace, or it may have been at the beginning of Attack of the Clones. I can't remember. But you saw it over Coruscant anyway, in one of them. He was the centre. I've read that bit. While there are many old characters fans would love to see back, Kyle Katarn could fit in perfectly with the story that The Mandalorian seems to be setting up. When Disney purchased Lucasfilm in 2012, it made much of the old Star Wars expanded universe legends instead of being an actual part of the canon. They have begun to pick out the best pieces of the Legends material and have used it to influence some of their current content, such as Thrawn, for instance. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to burp again. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. There we go. Kyle Katarn is an excellent character that Disney could resurrect and tweak his story to fit their current canon. Many fans would love to see this old character brought back to life and involved in the current stories. Kyle Katarn's history, and there he is. I do believe that may be Jedi Knight, Jedi Knight 2, isn't it? It's called, isn't it? I can't remember. I wrote it here actually. Hang on, let's have a look. I think that's from Jedi Outcast. I do believe that's from Jedi Outcast, which I've got there. Look there, got PS4, and it's virtually unplayable. Well, it is by me anyway. But I'm rubbish at games, so there you go. Katarn originally started as a student, training to join the Empire and fight against the rising rebellion. When he discovered the Empire had staged an attack that killed his father, he defected from the Empire and joined the rebellion. Once enlisted, he accepted a mission to steal the plans for the Death Star. His mission was a success, and the Battle of Yavin was partially won because of his efforts. So there you go. Katarn worked with the rebellion during the war and continued his service with the New Republic. Sometime after the Battle of Endor, Kyle discovered his Jedi heritage and sought the Valley of the Jedi, a place of powerful Force energy. After finding the lightsaber of an old Jedi, Katarn started his search for the Valley. Dark Jedis were also after the Valley's power. Katarn eventually reached the Valley of the Jedi, defeating the Dark Jedis and freeing the Valley. After this, Luke Skywalker offered to train him, but Katarn feared falling to the dark side. He initially rejected the offer before accepting a second invitation. Eventually, Kyle gave up being a Jedi and became a mercenary again. In time, he returned to the new Jedi Order and became a master, teaching new Jedi and sitting on the council. How Kyle Katarn fits in the current canon, and there's the Bad Batch. While there are some aspects of Kyle Katarn's story that wouldn't work anymore, like stealing the Death Star plans, much of his incredible story, it was Jyn Erso, wasn't it, and Rogue One that did that now. Much of his incredible story can still work within the canon. The perfect place to introduce Katarn is in Star Wars The Bad Batch. Clone Force 99 could meet Katarn while he's still part of the Imperial Academy. Oh, heck, God. Oh, good heavens above. Oh, where'd that come from? I do apologise. Oh, heck. Blimey, O'Reilly. I should have had Coke, shouldn't I? Oh, never mind. I've got a can of Red Bull in fridge. That's right. Actually, I'll go get it. Just talk amongst yourselves just while I mute my microphone. I will be back momentarily. I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Got me can of Red Bull. Hope it's still in code. It's been in fridge for ages. Yeah, it is. Right. Oh, what am I like? What am I like? Hey, back again. I've been burping like a good one. I will. Right, where were we? Right, depending on how long the show runs, they could even help him get connected with the early days of the rebellion. This would reintroduce Katarn and give him new connections within the canon. His personality and adventurous spirit would make his character feel right at home in the Bad Batch. It also seems like Disney is setting up something for Luke's new Jedi Academy after his appearances in the Book of Boba Fett. This is where Kyle Katarn could truly shine. Disney has a 30-year time gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which they will fill with stories. An animated series about Luke's Jedi Academy seems like the perfect way to develop Luke and Ben Solo's stories. But it can also be a place for Kyle Katarn. And there's, in one of the games, I don't know which. Is this from Jedi Outcast as well? I don't know. Right. Having Kyle be part of Luke's academy allows fans to connect with Luke through Kyle and see more in those early years after the fall of the Empire. Kyle Katarn is the perfect vessel for viewers to see more Luke Skywalker, but also to connect with a character who has amazing stories and deep roots in Star Wars. The franchise has a proven record with telling incredible stories through animation. And Kyle Katarn could be the flagship character for a new series of outstanding animated stories. Seeing Kyle Katarn and Luke face down Dark Jedi or a rising Sith power... Oh, Craig. Hey, the stream of burps. Or a rising Sith power, or even Imperial remnant would be something that all fans could appreciate. Kyle Katarn, there you go. Kyle Katarn was lost to the Legends canon when Disney bought Lucasfilm, but he's a character that many fans have sorely missed. his return to the canon could help fill the gap between the original and sequel trilogies, placing him in the Bad Batch, or his own animated series. Would please long-time fans and allow new fans to experience another fantastic Star Wars character. There we go. So yeah, I'd like to see Kyle-Katarn come back, and the Mouldy Crow. It'd be good. Right, anyway, so we're sticking with Star Wars for the next story. Aidan, my son, is making noises upstairs. I told him I was doing my show. Right, Palpatine's new... start again. Palpatine's return rumours show how badly Rise of Skywalker messed up. Well, that's the least of its worries, isn't it, really? Or least of its problems. Palpatine actor Ian McDiarmid has teased a potential return to Star Wars. Doesn't that prove how badly the Rise of Skywalker failed him? There he is. I believe that's from Rise of Skywalker, isn't it? Right. Somehow, the Rise of Skywalker messed up Palpatine's comeback, and the lethargy that has greeted fresh rumours of the villain's survival proves it. As the overarching villain of Star Wars' Skywalker saga, no one was hugely surprised when Ian McDiarmid returned as Sheev Palpatine in J.J. Abrams' sequel trilogy closer, The Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Palpatine, innit? Questions over whether Star Wars could resurrect Palpatine without negating Anakin Skywalker's Return of the Jedi redemption were understandably asked, but in the right context, Palpatine's presence in the sequel era could have been glorious. As it turned out, preserving Anakin's sacrifice was the least of J.J. Abrams' Palpatine problems. This shouldn't have used him anyway. Should have brought back Snoke, left Palpatine dead and brought back Snoke. He's supposedly the big bad, isn't he? But no, they couldn't do that, could they? Though Ray Palpawalker, nice one, who's this screen rant, seemingly vanquished her wrinkly Sith grandfather forever in the Rise of Skywalker's final battle, rumours of his demise may have been greatly exaggerated. Ian McDiarmid recently admitted to Metro that his Star Wars journey was probably over following The Rise of Skywalker, but pointed to Hayden Christensen's Darth Vader reprisal in Obi-Wan Kenobi as proof Palpatine might be discovered once again skulking in the shadows. And saying, "Roll it again." McDiarmid's suggestion, however, likely it was made, sparked fan debate over Palpatine's potential survival, a conversation no doubt encouraged by the recent reports of a fresh Star Wars trilogy in Disney's pipeline. Sadly, it's this discourse that highlights just how gravely The Rise of Skywalker damaged Palpatine's reputation. Online reaction to the prospect of Palpatine in a future Star Wars project has been something of a collective groan. The cautious excitement and balanced scepticism that greeted McDiarmid's The Rise of Skywalker casting has now been replaced by a total lack of appetite for more of the Mad Emperor. But Star Wars' main villain, rearing his head again, should not feel this unappealing. Palpatine was an integral character during Star Wars' original trilogy, then became an iconic cinema villain following his full debut in Return of the Jedi. Shifty Sheev's stock rose even further through the Star Wars prequel movies, which have enjoyed renewed popularity in recent years, and animated appearances in the Clone Wars added even more shades to the Palpatine palette. Star Wars as Emperor is a great villain with a great history, played by a great actor. Support for Palpatine's return shouldn't be this low, surely. Zap. Where are you going? Too far again. While some would argue Palpatine should have stayed dead after Return of the Jedi, the Rancor's share of the blame for his plummeted stock lies with The Rise of Skywalker botching the villain so spectacularly. You've seen the memes. Evidently struggling to conjure a usable explanation for how Palpatine survived Anakin's betrayal, The Rise of Skywalker ultimately chose not to explain it. Well, that's J.J. Abrams, isn't it? You don't have to explain everything. It's all a mystery box. There are vague allusions to cloning and the Sith Eternal, but the rise of Skywalker avoids addressing Palpatine's resurrection like a politician getting grilled by a news anchor. Palp's problems only continue from there, with the Sith's master plan and motivation so muddled they're virtually impenetrable. Between the Rey Ben Solo Force dyad and ghosts of Sithmas past and the supreme puppet Snoke, Palpatine's The Rise of Skywalker arc tosses too many ingredients into the pot with too little foresight or coherence, like my reading. Completely sucking all life out of the villain's long-awaited revival. Palpatine's sequel trilogy woes are then worsened by the last-minute, mostly irrelevant revelation that Rey is his granddaughter. Between nonsensical machinations and non-existent explanations, it's hardly surprising Palpatine now joins Jar Jar Binks on the Star Wars' no-entry list. Even Ian McDiarmid's suggestion of Palpatine skulking in the shadows speaks to the rise of Skywalker's failings. Had the Star Wars sequel trilogy done justice to Palpatine with a fitting and definitive ending, the actor might now be telling fans how he wouldn't want to tarnish an epic final scene by coming back rather than leaving the door ajar. Yeah, but he can come back in Obi-Wan Kenobi, can't he? Because that's before Return of the Jedi, isn't it? So he could come back for that. Surely. But he's not called Shirley. He's called Sheev. So there we go. I think they should leave him dead now. And they should just forget about the sequel. Any more Star Wars they do, they should just not mention the sequel trilogy. But they are doing, because the Galactic Star Cruiser's got the sequel trilogy people in it, haven't they? As we saw yesterday. With Rey lighting the lightsaber, and putting it down quick and picking up one that were already lit. Because she can't fight with the one that that extends. I'm sure they'll work it out. Right, next up. Right, that's enough for space. Well, star stuff, Star Wars, Star Trek. We're on to Doctor Who. Doctor Who, not Doctor Who. I'm from Yorkshire, that's how we say it. We say Doctor Who. We don't say Doctor Who. We say Doctor Who. Anyway, Doctor Who, said it again. What Jodie Whittaker's departure will mean for the series. It means we'll all rejoice. But will we? Well, yeah, but with the replacement. I've just noticed she's got these earrings. She's Bajoran. Anyway, Jodie Whittaker's first female Doctor revolutionised the series. But also became the most controversial. What will Doctor Who look like without her? Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who era. I'll have to have another sip of this. Red Bull's revolting, isn't it? I got it for Aidan, my son, but he don't like it either. He asked for it. Anyway, Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who era is arguably the most controversial in the show's modern history, with fans divided about its changes to the official canon, selection of topics, and even the choice for the lead character. Jodie Whittaker became the first female Doctor, and with her run coming to an end, many Whovians are wondering what it would mean for the series as a whole. Whittaker took on the mantle of the famous Time Lord back in 2018 and initially dazzled fans with her explosive energy. I wouldn't say that. Her quirky look and somewhat erratic behaviour. I've had an upgrade. I should be all for her. I mean, I do like Jodie Whittaker, but because she's a local lass, she's a Yorkshire lass, she's from Huddersfield. But, just don't work as Doctor Who. Sorry. As the seasons progressed, her run became more controversial, with some criticising her Doctor's lack of depth and casual attitude towards violence, while others believed she was an unfortunate victim of subpar writing, but still had potential. Yeah. One way or another, Whittaker's time as the Doctor has had a significant impact on the series, not only due to her setting precedent for a non-male lead character. Oh, pardon me. But also substantial alterations to their background. So what will Doctor Who look like after her departure? We'll find out soon. But let's have a guess with them. Doctor Who is the world's longest running sci-fi show. It originally aired on BBC, the BBC, from 1963 to 1989 and was successfully rebooted by Russell T Davies in 2005. Don't forget the, is it 1995? I can't remember. Movie with Paul McGann. Don't forget that. Although a lot of people would like to. But, you know, it is still, I think it's still classed as canon because it had Sylvester McCoy in it, didn't it, briefly at the beginning. Anyway, it follows the adventures of an alien Time Lord, the Doctor, who travels across time and space in their signature blue police box, the TARDIS. Not in there, in his, because he's a man. Even though that's her, she's still a man. She's still the Doctor, who is a man. Not man, male. Occasionally, the Doctor sheds their form and regenerates his form and regenerates into a new version of himself to avoid certain death. This inherent ability allows for seamless continuity of the series, with the lead actor's change cleverly written into the character. The show's modern era has seen Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi assume the role of the iconic time traveller, with each of them putting their stamp on the character. After Capaldi's regeneration, the fans were presented with an unprecedented scenario, a female Doctor portrayed by Jodie Whittaker. Whittaker's Time Lord was resourceful, loud, eccentric and longed for human connection, a perfect recipe for the Doctor. Unlike previous regenerations, she had several companions, her fam, a diverse group of friends that played a key role in her adventures. Instead of focusing on alien threats like many Doctors before her, in her first season, Whittaker got to explore the transformative moments in human history, from Rosa Parks to the partition of India to the impact of climate change. This seemingly indicated a new, exciting and emotionally complex shift in the show's direction that once again divided but also intrigued the viewers. Yeah, but they were rubbish stories. However, the following season surprisingly returned to the show's classic roots. Traditional monsters like Daleks and Cybermen once again took centre stage, and the story turned to the Doctor and her personal history. Many Whovians were disappointed by the convoluted plots and the Doctor's uncharacteristic behaviour and confusing changes to the canon. In particular, the Flux and the Timeless Child storylines have divided the audience and resulted in record-low viewing numbers. When it was announced that Chibnall and Whittaker would be leaving the series, hooray! The final episode is scheduled for autumn 2022. The reveal of the new showrunner caught fans off guard. After more than a decade-long break, Russell T Davies is returning to spearhead the series. He is bound to introduce an entirely new direction, potentially in line with his original stories. However, Whittaker's time as the Doctor will likely have several implications for the show's future. Who will be the next Doctor? No idea who that is. I'm sure it'll tell us. Oh, does it tell us if we... Lydia West as Jill Baxter reading a newspaper. That's what it says. Oh, it doesn't show up on yours, does it? But anyway, whatever. Considering that Whittaker broke the line of male Doctors, he's break the line, that line is broken. It is likely that Davies will continue down the same non-conservative path. After all, Davies introduced Captain Jack Harkness, the first openly non-heterosexual character in the history of Doctor Who, as well as Martha, the first ethnic minority companion. Many fans are convinced that the new Doctor will be female and or a member of the people of colour, isn't it? I don't know what BI stands for. Whatever. Or LGBTQ plus communities. See, I can't keep up with all these. As I've said before, I'm old and I can't keep up with all these acronyms. Some popular candidates, including Ollie Alexander and Lydia West, both of whom appeared in Davis's recent series, It's a Sin. Is that... I don't know. At the same time, there have been... Sorry, I was just trying to think what BI... I know people of colour, but what's BI? Something Indian, maybe? I don't know. At the same time, there have been rumours about the return of David Tennant, who played the 10th Doctor. While it's not unheard of for Doctor Who to feature the same actor in multiple roles, Karen Gillan, Jenna Coleman and Peter Capaldi serve as proof. Recasting the same actor for the lead role would be unprecedented. Well, yeah, it would. Yeah. Because I was just thinking about Colin Baker, but he appeared, obviously not as the Doctor, but he played somebody before he became the Doctor. He appeared in Doctor Who, but then Peter Capaldi has as well, hasn't he? What happens to the companions? 2 members of the 13th Doctor's fam, Graham, Bradley Walsh and Ryan Tosin Cole, have already parted ways with the Doctor. The remaining companion, Yaz Mandip Gill, was joined by Liverpudlian food bank helper Dan John Bishop. They were shown by Whittaker's side at the end of Eve of the Daleks. While it's not uncommon for companions to carry on with different Doctors, Rose remained with the 10th Doctor and Clara Oswald stayed with 12. It's less likely for the characters to continue after the change in showrunner, which is usually viewed as a harder reboot of the show. And considering that Davis's production company Bad Wolf took creative control over the series from the BBC, a fresh start appears to be in the cards. That's not to say that some beloved companions like Captain Jack Harkness, played by fabulous John Barrowman, will not make a comeback. Well, we'll see. He's been on telly, hasn't he, recently, apologising for his antics. So they might give him another chance. Dealing with the consequences of 13 storyline. The controversial Timeless Child storyline made several major alterations to the canon, likely to have consequences after Whittaker's departure. The Doctor was revealed to be the original Time Lord, whose memories about countless previous incarnations were locked inside a pocket watch. Even though 13 buried it deep inside the TARDIS, she did mention that it should be kept out of her reach, unless she really asks for it. This leaves a potential loose plot end and an opportunity for Davis to explore, should he decide to go down Chibnall's path. Even though the Doctor's selective memories are locked away, she still remembers the revealed Time Lord's origins, which are bound to have consequences in the future. On top of that, in the flux, Whittaker's Doctor all but committed genocide, a decision that was deemed completely out of character by many fans, destroying the entire fleet of Daleks, Cybermen and Sontarans without much ethical deliberation. While the special Eve of the Daleks showed that some specimens survived, they understandably hold a grudge. What's more, the new incarnation is unlikely to dismiss the moral implications of 13's actions. Whittaker's run has been undoubtedly controversial, but also groundbreaking. She paved the way to the new type of Doctor, unrestrained by traditional perceptions. As it stands now, she still has 2 episodes to redeem herself in the eyes of the fans, address plot holes, and make a spectacular exit. After Whittaker's departure, it's up to Davis and the new Doctor to shape the series' future, whatever it might be. But one thing is certain, it's going to be fantastic. Alonso! Is that a clue to that he is coming back? David Tennant. No, I don't like Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. I'm sorry, I don't. I mean, she's very, she's an attractive lady, but she's a good actress. But what they did with the Doctor was unforgivable. William Hartnell was the first Doctor. He even had a granddaughter, didn't he? So, yeah. There wasn't, I hope that they'll change it and say that this Timeless Child stuff were all a lie, or, it was a master lying to her, or do it something like that. I think they'll do, but we'll see. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. Anyway, right, that's enough Doctor Who. Let's go to Babylon 5. Babylon 5 reboot coming in 2023 instead of 2022. And there's the old Babylon 5. There's Jakar and Garibaldi and Sheridan and whoever that is, probably Sheridan. And Delenn, the late Mira Furlan. Very sad. I think they're all dead, actually, I think, apart from Bruce Boxleitner. I do believe, yes. Anyway, is Babylon 5 cursed? There's lots of actors that have passed away, haven't there? I know we're on a long time ago, but, passed away quite young, some of them. Anyway, Babylon 5's highly anticipated reboot is still on its way, but not as soon as we were hoping. Excuse me, just picking my nose, got a bit of an itch. J. Michael Straczynski, the creator of the original show, which is now considered one of the best sci-fi series of all time, has provided an update on the development of the planned reboot for the CW. Oh, God. The original show ran from 1994 to 1998 for 110 episodes, with stories that continued from episode to episode, rather than each one being more or less self-contained. The early episodes in Season 1 were a lot of, self-contained episodes, but as the Shadow War arc sort of unfolded, it became, more, serialised, didn't it? Yeah. The reboot of Babylon 5 would be from the ground up, and it would follow John Sheridan, an Earth Force officer with a mysterious background, who was assigned to Babylon 5, a 5-mile-long space station in neutral space. Why John Sheridan? Why not make it, if it's going to be, from the ground up, why not make it Jeffrey Sinclair? He was the original commander, wasn't he? So there you go. Should be. Posted on his Patreon, Straczynski said, I received a call from Mark Pedovitz. Fortunate name. President of the CW. I should mention that Mark is a great guy and a long-time fan of B5. He worked for Warner's when the show was first aired and always made sure we got him copies of the episodes before they aired because he didn't want to wait to see what happened next. Calling the pilot a damn fine script, he, Pedovitz, said he was taking the highly unusual step of rolling the project and the pilot script into next year, keeping B5 in active development while the dust settles on the sale of the CW. Here's the bottom line. Yesterday, Babylon 5 was in active development at the CW and Warner Brothers for fall 2022. Today, Babylon 5 is in active development at the CW and Warner Brothers for fall 2023. That is the only difference. Since Babylon 5 ended, Straczynski has gone on to write for Marvel Comics as well as collaborating with the Wachowskis on Sense8. While we wait for more updates on the Babylon 5 reboot, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, so next year. Suspect it's not going to happen. I do. I suspect it's not going to happen. But that's an interest. Why is it going to be John Sheridan and not Jeffrey Sinclair? Yeah. Don't know. Anyway, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I wonder if they'll still have like Delenn and Jacquard and Londo and Veer and all that. I wonder. Anyway, next up, controversy next. We're talking Gina Carano from Bounding Into Comics. And there she is in a new film that she's doing with the Daily Wire. Is it Terror on the Prairie? Something like that. Gina Carano calls Transition from COVID to War a scripted reality show sacrificing innocent lives for unquenchable greed. Terror on the Prairie and The Mandalorian actress Gina Carano put out a bold statement describing the transition from COVID to war as a scripted reality show. Carano shared her thoughts on Twitter, first stating, the moment they lost control of the COVID narrative, cue a war, straight from one crisis to the next. Seems like that, doesn't it? Must admit. A scripted reality show sacrificing innocent lives for unquenchable greed, she added. Carano then stated, endless power grabs, no accountability, devastated economies. Finally, she concluded, never give up freedom for fear. I thought I was tickling now, I'm going to have an argument. Accompanying this, Carano shared an image that reads, the government has caused suicides, bankruptcy, overdoses, domestic abuse, delayed thousands of life-saving surgeries, psychologically damaged generations of kids, and stole 2 years of freedom from everyone. Dropping the mandates isn't enough. There's the tweet. Yeah. And it's the same in the UK. I must admit, she's obviously talking about America, but it's the same in the UK. In a follow-up tweet, Carano shared a clip of a video interview with former The Telegraph cartoonist Bob Moran. In the clip, Moran states, if you lock people in their homes, if you shut down frontline healthcare, if you introduce a situation where mental health goes through the roof, where you drive people to suicide, where you destroy their businesses, where you put them into extreme poverty, you make them homeless, you implement measures as a government, you take that direct action that does those things, it will kill people. It has killed people. It will go on killing people for the next 10 to 20 years. He continues. Now, the government itself commissioned a report into the effects of the first lockdown, which this is in the UK, I do believe, which said around 200,000 people could die over the following 10 years as a result of that first lockdown. It was on the front pages of the newspapers. It was on the front page of the Telegraph. That was later revised up to 500,000 people. The way it was reported was to say, oh, there's a chance that lockdown might kill more people than the virus. That was such an irresponsible way to report it, Moran declares. He offers an example to how it should have been reported. What they should have said was, our government is prepared to murder 200,000 people to control the spread of a respiratory virus. If they had reported it like that, if that had been the headline on BBC News, people would have woken up to what was going on and they would have said, this is wrong. But there's this idea that it's okay, that it's to do with a balance of numbers. Oh, as long as the virus kills more people, that's okay. It's not about numbers. This doesn't come down to numbers, he asserts. It's about people. He goes on, ethically speaking, what lockdown means is that your government is prepared to kill this group of people over here and it knows that they will die, okay? These claims that, oh no, they couldn't possibly have known, is collateral damage, oh, it was an accident. No, they knew because they told us. We're going to murder these people over here because we think, we don't even know, it's a hunch, that this group of people over here won't get a respiratory virus. The clip concludes. Carano has vociferously spoken out against COVID lockdowns as well as vaccine mandates. Back in November, Carano responded to President Joe Biden's order requiring businesses to have their employees vaccinated or go through weekly testing, an order that was eventually struck down by the United States Supreme Court. Carano responded, tweeting an image that reads, your body does not belong to your employer, your school, or your government. And there's the tweet. She then shared a photo of herself from the set of Terror on the Prairie with the words "Do not comply" written across her arms. Accompanying the photo, she wrote, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. # do not comply. There you go. Carano had also previously warned that surrendering freedoms following a speech President Joe Biden gave announcing his plans to have businesses with over 100 employees vaccinated or go through weekly testing. She shared an image to Twitter that read, the freedoms you surrender today are the freedoms your grandchildren will never know existed. And there's the tweet again. In July 2021, she spoke out against lockdowns, tweeting, the best time to have spoken up about these draconian lockdowns would have been when they locked us down. She continued, the second best time wouldn't be any time since they locked us down. The third best time would be now. Don't let this go on, she concluded. What do you make of Carano's assertion that the power What do you make of Carano's assertion that the powers that be have now transitioned to a war, given their narrative on COVID has fallen apart? Well, it's strange, isn't it, that countries around the world just have suddenly decided that it's time to end the COVID restrictions, so we don't have to wear masks and stuff like that, and we don't have to be vaccinated, and we didn't have to be, but they kind of encouraged it, didn't they? And as soon as that's over with, everybody's seemingly getting back to normal. Bang, Russia, we have a big war that's looming. Hopefully, it's not going to escalate. We hope, but yeah. But anyway, yes, she's controversially Gina. She says she speaks her mind, and good on her. And I do agree. To be honest, I think the the COVID pandemic. It wasn't a pandemic. It were badly handled. There were reasons behind it, the way it was handled. And it obviously it lasted for 2 years, and then I think the public had had enough, hadn't they? So they basically forced governments to drop the mandates, didn't they? Anyway, right, so what shall we do next? We'll get rid of that, right. We shall finish off this list, then we've got a couple of science newsers. I think we've nearly done this one. If you want to see what came before, obviously the links are in the description below. But we'll carry on. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next chapter. This is August next year. No rubber suits or CG characters eating pizza here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next chapter, will be a computer animated affair. So it's going to be CG characters then. It's coming to us from some comedy heavy hitters with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's Point Grey Pictures. This time around, we're focusing on the teenage side of things. Maybe we'll see turtle acne and awkward turtle crushes. This film will be followed by a series of villain-driven films in the franchise for Paramount+. Though we don't have any info on the cast yet, we do know that Jeff Rowe will direct. This is the man who wrote and co-directed The Mitchells vs. the Machines, which was an absolute delight. Never heard of it. Not a bad tidbit for fans. The script comes from Brendan O'Brien, who wrote Neighbours, the Australian soap, I don't know, and its sequel. No, obviously not that. We'll keep you updated as news breaks for this one. The film is currently in pre-production and will hit theatres in August 2023. Yeah, don't really care. Dune Part 2. Next year. The spice must flow, and so must the Dune franchise. Denis Villeneuve's highly anticipated Dune somehow managed to live up to the weight of crushing expectations, racking up solid numbers at the pandemic-adjusted box office, along with a hefty total of 10 Academy Award nominations. Frank Herbert's classic sci-fi novel served as the inspiration for what would eventually become Star Wars, giving the 2021 adaptation even more pressure to do what David Lynch's 1984 Dune could not, become a genuine pop culture event. I like David Lynch's 1984 Dune. Mission accomplished, as evidenced by Warner Brothers and Legendary wasting no time at all crikey, to keep the good times rolling, and Greenlight Part 2. The sequel promises to cover material from the book that Villeneuve has had to leave out first time round, leaving fans eager to see more of Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides, Zendaya's Shani, Sandworms, and the Holy War to come over control of the desert world of Arrakis. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed the first one. It were good. So we'll see how it goes on. But I do like David Lynch's one. Star Trek 4. We've talked about this loads, haven't we? Yeah, we don't need to. We've talked about this before. We know that's coming. Or is it? Don't know. Alien. What happens when 3 aliens hunting for a mystical sword on Earth? So it's not alien as in, xenomorphs, Ridley Scott's Alien and all that. A different one. What happens when 3 aliens hunting for a mystical sword on Earth are magically transported back in time? This is the oddly specific hypothetical that Choi Dong-hoon hopes to answer in Alien. The 2-part sci-fi blockbuster will follow a trio of aliens from present-day South Korea to the Goryeo era, aka the Golden Age of Buddhism, where sword fighting and religious zeal went hand in hand. Kim Tai-ri, the handmaiden, Kim Woo-bin, and Ryu Jun-yeol, I do apologise if I've got all them wrong, are just 3 of the stars appearing. Aside from its unpredictable plot, unusual characters and witty humour, not much is known about the film since shooting wrapped in 2021. All signs point to a 2022 release. So hopefully more details about this interesting adventure will pop up soon. We'll see. I don't know. It's first I've heard of that. First I've heard of it. We'll see. Right, Bioshock. This is coming to Netflix, isn't it? Yeah, I think we did this other day, didn't we? But well, go on, I'll read it. One of the greatest first-person shooters of all time is getting a feature-length adaptation, and it's about time. Bioshock instantly made waves among gamers upon its release in 2007, building out an incredibly well-realised underwater labyrinth full of dystopian architecture, fearsome creatures, steampunk aesthetics, and, oh yeah, one of the most compelling video game villains ever created. Would you kindly raise your excitement levels for the potential of seeing Rapture's unforgettable world building brought to life in all its cinematic glory? So it's going to be on Netflix. Netflix will be taking a shot at adapting the tricky material and hopefully breaking the dreaded video game curse. No director, writer or cast have yet been announced, but the mere promise of seeing this project brought to life easily makes this a must-watch. They'll make a mess of it, because video game movies rarely do the games justice. I think closest was Silent Hill, and even that one perfect. Right, Mickey 7, that's Robert Pattinson, isn't it? It appears as though director Bong Joon-ho has found his much-anticipated follow-up to the Best Picture Oscar-winning Parasite. Bong is now working on Mickey 7, a sci-fi film based on Edward Ashton's book about a disposable employee who's serving on a human mission to colonise a new planet when one of his clones goes missing and is presumed dead, only to surprisingly return not long after. Let me wire it where the Ashton's novel combines social commentary with fascinating sci-fi ideas and characters in the same way that Bong did in movies like Snowpiercer and, I don't know how to pronounce that, Okja, I don't know. Never heard of it. Making it the perfect match for the revered filmmaker and his unique style. On top of that, Robert Pattinson is in talks to star as the titular Mickey, which all but guarantees that Mickey 7 will be as weird and wild as anything else Bong has made. We'll see. Wonderland. More from South Korea. Thanks to the acclaim of films like The Handmaiden, Burning, and of course Parasite, all eyes are on South Korea. Unfortunately, the country's movie industry has struggled to find a new normal in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's kept a number of films from their scheduled theatre releases. Some have been stuck in limbo since the pandemic began, but with a new year comes new chances for the most anticipated South Korean films to finally find their audience. Kim Tae-yong's sci-fi romance Wonderland is one project slated for a promising 2022 release. The film takes place in a virtual world where people can reconnect with loved ones that have passed on and touts big names like Bae Suzy Startup, Choi Woo-shik, Parasite, Our Beloved Summer, Park Bo-gum, and Gong Yoo, Train to Busan, and Goblin. Performers who have definitely helped keep the hype alive. I'm sorry, I'm an infant. An old infant. Using technology as a means to cheat death hasn't always had the best results on screen, but South Korean films are pretty well known for surpassing expectations with genre-bending stories. Even if it doesn't quite live up to its hype, Wonderland will be a great showcase for some of South Korea's most popular actors. Is that it? Yes, that's it. We're done now. Yes, that's 10 best sci-fi movie villains. Yeah, which we might do that another day, but not today. So that's the end of that one. Yay! Right, science news. Don't worry, we're not going to die. Monumental 1.2 kilometre asteroid hurtling towards Earth and will strike our orbit in days. Strike our orbit. Unbelievable. Where's this Daily Star? Like a step up in it, and that close to the sun, for being like a shitty rag. Sorry, I swore, but it is. They are a monstrous. Oh, go away. Pop-ups. What are you doing? What? Oh. A monstrous 1.2 kilometre asteroid. I'm going to get cross here. How do I get rid of that now? A monstrous 1.2 kilometre asteroid is hurtling towards us as we speak and is set to crash into our orbit this coming week. I mean, it's going to pass over, It's an Earth-crossing asteroid. It's not going to hit us, don't worry. NASA's tool tracking near-Earth asteroids has identified an absolute whopper, which is more than 12 times larger than Big Ben. Asteroid 138971 will make its close approach to Earth on March the 5th, this coming Friday, and is so large that it is just one of 2 asteroids being tracked by the Space Agency to have been assigned a specific number. The second largest asteroid being tracked by NASA is a mere 152 metres, almost 8 times smaller than this absolute beast. If it were to crash into the Earth, the asteroid could cause an extinction level event, but luckily 138971 will be passing us by. NASA say that it should come to just under 5 million kilometres away from us, which is still extremely narrow in space terms. Well, yeah, but it's still a long way, innit? For perspective, the Sun is 148 million kilometres away, some 30 times further than the monster asteroid will be. They keep calling it monster rather than beast. God, I hate tabloids. 138971 will also be travelling at a staggering speed. NASA reckons it will top 12.02 kilometres per second when it passes us by. That's nearly 27,000 miles per hour. More still, another asteroid is set to come extremely close to Earth today. Categorised as 2022 DA2, it will pass just 1.2 million kilometres away from our planet. At roughly 33 metres wide, exactly 1/3 the size of Big Ben, the tower. That means that the Big Ben's the bell. Everybody knows that. We would still know about it if it crashed directly into us, although we wouldn't be wiped out. In December last year, NASA launched its DART mission with the aim of testing their capability to divert deadly asteroids if one was headed our way. In what is NASA's first ever planetary defence mission, the Space Agency planned to crash a 610-kilogram craft into moonlet Dimorphos, which orbits a far larger asteroid in Didymos, to test how effectively we can alter the path of asteroids. The DART craft cost $330 million, or £247 million, and will be headed at 15,000 miles per hour towards the Dimorphos. And there we go, that's it. Right. It happens regularly. The Earth-crossing asteroids happen regularly. And it's when they pass closer than the moon is when it gets a bit hairy, isn't it? But even then, they're usually thousands of kilometres away from us. Anyway, and another one, right? Curiosity rover. Oh, why hasn't this one appeared? Is it going to pop up? Give it a refresh. There's all the summit in there. Yup. They're going to come on. Here we go. Let's come on now. Look. There we go. Curiosity rover snapped this photo of a tiny and delicate mineral flower on Mars. And there it is, look. The Curiosity rover took a picture of something pretty enticing this week on the surface of Mars. While the object in question looks like a tiny little flower or even maybe some type of organic feature, the rover team confirmed this object is a mineral formation with delicate structures that formed by minerals precipitating from water. So that's interesting in itself. Water. Pointing to myself on my screen over there for some reason. Speaking of water, I haven't yawned ever since I started drinking that. Curiosity has actually seen these types of features before, which are called diagenetic crystal clusters. It's me wire. Sorry, I can feel something tickling my arm. It's me wire from the microphone. Where were I? Diagenetic means the recombination or rearrangement of minerals. Was it? I thought it meant twin genetic or something like that. Genetic is usually to do with life, isn't it? Genes. And these features consist of three-dimensional crystal clusters, likely made of a combination of minerals. Curiosity Deputy Project Scientist Abigail Freeman said on Twitter that these features that were seen previously were made of salts called sulfates. Is it? Oh, yeah. One of three. Yeah, that's the tweet, what we've just read up there. Oh, pardon me. From studies of previous features like this found on Mars, you can read a paper on them here. Links in the description if you want to read it. Originally, the feature was embedded Oh, pardon me. Oh, cracky Moses. Hey. Originally, the feature was embedded within a rock which eroded away over time. These mineral clusters, however, appear to be resistant to erosion. Another name for these features is concretion, which you may remember from the Opportunity rover, who saw features that were nicknamed blueberries since they were small and round. You can see round concretions next to the flower-like features in this image. There, and there's the flower. It's an alien. The rover science team saw this feature earlier this week and named it Blackthorn Salt. They used the rover's Mars hand lens imager, called Marley, to take these close-up images. This camera is the rover's version of the magnifying hand lens that geologists usually carry with them into the field. Marley's close-up images reveal the minerals and textures in rock surfaces. Here you can see a 3D model of the object thanks to Simon Schmaus. Where can you... I can't see a 3D. Is this it? I don't know. Oh, you've got to follow that link to see it. I don't know. Anyway, Curiosity found another flower-like feature back in 2013, and the Spirit rover found similar-looking rocks that were nicknamed cauliflower features because of their knobby protuberances. And there they are. I won't call them cauliflowers. Our thanks to Kevin Gill, who processed images taken on Sol 3397. See more great Curiosity images at his Flickr page. There we go. So there you go. So yes, it's interesting. It's aliens. It's life. It ain't. But it'd be nice if it were. But they won't tell us anyway. And that's it. That's that. We've all caught up with the news for today. There we go. All done and dusted. I'll make myself a bit bigger. There we go. I'll move myself up. Right. So we'll leave it there for tonight. I've waffled on again for another hour and a quarter. Although I did have a break, didn't I? To get me Red Bull. Anyway, so, right, that's it. We're all done. So we'll see. Oh, excuse me. We'll see what we can find tomorrow, hopefully. There'll be some more news. I always say, no, I always think there's going to be no news because I start looking for things and then I don't find anything for ages and then just suddenly loads of things pop up. So, anyway. So, until tomorrow,